Major League Baseball is back. Texas baseball snaps their Big 12 Series losing streak, and we've narrowed down the madness to 4. All this and more coming up on College Crossfire. Stay tuned.
What the hell's the rest of it?
I'm so excited.
Welcome into this live edition of College Crossfire. I'm your host, Jeff Barker. As always, we've got lots to discuss tonight, but let's get right into it by introducing tonight's panel. To my immediate right, we have Will Korn. Corn Dog, how you doing, man?
I'm good. Ready to go.
All right, glad to have you back.
Thank you.
Right in time for baseball season,
Right in time.
as always. And we have Cooper Irwin. Cooper, how you doing?
I'm great. It's good to be back.
All right, yeah, thank you for coming back. And we have host of TSTV's Longhorn Late Night, making a guest appearance here, Hunter Golden.
How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you. Hope you studied up on your sports, man.
What's that?
This isn't that comedy that you always do. But
Yeah,
all right, guys, let's get right into it. Prior to Sunday afternoon, the Texas baseball team had not won a Big 12 series since April of 2012. Texas snapped that losing streak this past weekend when they won 2 of 3 games against in-state rival Texas Tech to win the series. The Horns moved up 5 spots in the rankings after the successful weekend in Lubbock and now stand at number 11 in the latest NCAA Division I rankings. The team continued their strong play again last night when they beat number 13 Rice by a final score of 5-2. So guys, has Texas's recent success been somewhat of a fluke, or is this something that the Horns can build off of going through the rest of the year and maybe prove that they're a championship caliber team? Corn Dog, what do you got?
I don't think it's a fluke. I think they're 23-7 right now. The pitching's been lights out. We expected that. They got a team ERA of 1.98, so pretty much all the pitchers are spot on. The hitters are hitting this year. You got 3 guys that are over 300. Peyton's doing his 396 right now. You got 2 more guys that are hitting high 280. So the offense is clicking now. So it's all coming together. These guys are motivated. It was an embarrassment last season. I think they were 2 or 500, and then they were second to last in the conference. Just horrendous. They're ready to go. I think they're playing well, and it's showing this year.
So you think College World Series maybe?
I don't know about that, but if the pitching keeps up and they get enough offense, that's the key. 4 or 5 runs a game with that pitching, they can go pretty far.
All righty. Cooper.
I agree. I think that this is a rebound season for the team, and Augie has got them ready to play, one of the best managers in baseball. And, I mean, it basically comes down to the offense. The pitching is going to be there. The ERA is under 2, so but the offense has come through better this year. Ben Johnson's hitting over 300, has 3 home runs, and Mark Payton's almost hitting 400. They're getting a little bit more production this year. If the offense can just provide enough scoring, they'll be fine.
All righty. $100. What do you got?
You know what? I'm going to have to disagree. I think it is a fluke. I think this coaching staff is old. They're washed out. They're tired. It's just like what was happening during Mac Brown. We need a regime change. Augie Garrido, more like Soggy Dorito. And that's all I have to say. That's all I have to say.
That's all you have?
Yeah.
All right, well, you, I was actually called out before the show for always giving 1 point to everyone to start the show off on the first question. So, Hunter, you're going to grab the point on this one for that soggy Dorito reference right there.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I mean, a little overboard. I don't know if I agree, but I liked your passion there, man. So. Ready, guys, moving on. Since Steve Patterson's return to the 40 acres in November, he's been a very busy man. In his press conference Tuesday morning, Texas's new athletic director made it clear that rekindling the football rivalry with Texas A&M is not atop his to-do list. While he's not focusing on reuniting with A&M, Patterson has much loftier goals for the athletic department. He's shown interest in playing non-conference football games in both Mexico City and Dubai, and has already scheduled a basketball game in China for the 2015 season. What do you guys make of Patterson's disregard for bringing back the A&M rivalry and his recent efforts to expand UT's athletic brand internationally? Cooper?
I really wish he would bring back the A&M rivalry. I mean, it's after OU, it's definitely the best rivalry Texas has, and it'd be great to have it back. And I mean, you've got some iconic moments like the Justin Tucker field goal to win the last game. And the thing is, A&M had 2 good seasons with arguably the best player in college football, and the best they did was go to 1 BCS game. And they're talking smack about UT and we're better, and it's time to prove it on the field and bring the whoop to them. I mean, there's no way. We need to play A&M, show them what's up, that we're still #1 in Texas. And as far as the going international stuff, I mean, that's fine. It's going to make us more money for the department. Yeah. I mean, we already have enough, but I don't know if I really like it. If we have less home games for students, I don't think I like it because we already make enough money, but I mean, they're just going to keep rolling in the dough, so.
Definitely. I mean, that's what it's all about at the end of the day, so.
Yeah.
Hunter?
Well, a fun fact about me is I actually went to Texas A&M for a year before coming to UT.
Loser.
I know. But I don't think Steve Patterson needs to rush to bring back the rivalry. From my experience, the rivalry means so much more to A&M than it does to Texas. And that's why Steve Patterson has all the leverage right now. He can negotiate it any way he wants. We can maybe set it up. We have 2 home games and they get 1, then we get 2 more, something like that. Because they want it more than we do, so we kind of we can sit back and wait for it. And as far as the international thing, I think that's awesome. It brings exposure for the athletic program, but also the university. Students in Mexico, students in Dubai, students in China will find out about UT as a place that they can go. The NFL is expanding their efforts to push football knowledge in China. Ricky Williams has already gone out there and coached a camp, so I think we're just capitalizing on that. China has 1 billion people. There might be one good football recruit out there, and he sees a Texas game, you know?
So do you think Patterson's getting paid by the NFL to take these football games out of the country?
Maybe not by the NFL, but he's definitely joining on that bandwagon of
yeah, I was
exposure for the game.
I was just messing around with you.
Wasn't
Corn dog?
funny.
I think part of the reason that A&M left, I think people will tell you this, is they wanted bigger and better. They wanted to go on the tougher conference, play the tougher teams. It's almost like UT wasn't good enough for them anymore. So why didn't Patterson return the favor? You know, if he's going to China, going to Dubai, international branding, that's a lot more lucrative than A&M. I would love to have the rivalry return, but like Hunter said, Patterson has the leverage. If he wants to do it, this is the #1 most grossing revenue program in all of college athletics. If he wants to make it happen, he's in charge. He calls the shots. So.
Definitely. All right, I'm gonna give Cooper the point here. I mean, you guys all brought up good points about expanding the brand internationally and all that, but gotta bring that A&M rivalry back. It's what the fans want. Yeah. It's what the state of Texas wants. So, Cooper, you're gonna get that point there. Now, guys, let's switch gears, move back to baseball here. After a quick 2-game series in Australia and the unofficial opening night game on Sunday, America's Pastime returned officially on Monday for the official Major League Baseball opening day. The Rangers kicked off the season with a 14-10 loss to the Phillies, while the other local team, the Houston Astros, got a win in their opening game last night against the Yankees. So looking at the whole league now, before we go to break, who do you guys think is the best team in the league to begin the season? And give me a sleeper that might surprise some people. Hunter.
All right, well, to start out, I mean, you got to pick the Boston Red Sox as the best team. They were just at the White House yesterday, getting, celebrating and stuff. They're bringing back a whole bunch of that roster that just crushed everybody through the playoffs. So, I mean, that's the obvious choice as for who is the best team to start the season. And as far as sleepers go, I'll give you 2, Jeff. I like the A's. I like the Reds. The A's, Billy Beane always builds a sneaky little offense. They surprise you. They got a young pitching staff. I know they're young, but I think they're underrated. And the Reds are kind of in the same boat. The only challenge they have that the A's don't have is they play in the NL Central, which is always tough. So those are my picks,
tough division for the A's, but I mean they are always somehow in it at the end of the day. When it comes down to the end of the season.
I got to say the Detroit Tigers right now is the key, because I'm going to be biased and say if my Texas Rangers were healthy, they could easily be the best team in the American League. But you look at Detroit's rotation right now, the best big 3 in baseball. When they're all on, Scherzer, Verlander, Anibal Sanchez, they added Jabba Chamberlain, Joe Nathan to the bullpen. The bullpen was their weakest spot for years, and now they've beefed that up. So if they lost a little bit offensively with Prince Fielder. They got Ian Kinsler back in that trade. If that team's clicking in that ballpark and the pitching's on, they could win the World Series this year. Sleeper teams, I got 2 as well. I'm going to go with the Arizona Diamondbacks, adding Mark Trumbo, adding Bronson Arroyo. NL pitcher in a pitcher's park is the key right there. Also the Kansas City Royals. I know they lost 2 straight to the Tigers. Love that lineup. Their rotation's still very, very good. James Shields, they added Jason Vargas this offseason. One of those guys that can just keep them in the game. So maybe about 88, 89 wins for KC, around there. Compete for the AL Central.
All righty, Cooper.
I'm going to have to go with the Los Angeles Dodgers for the best team in baseball.
Yeah, you are.
They have 3 top-tier starters. You got Greinke, former Cy Young winner, Kershaw, arguably the best pitcher in baseball, and then Ryu. Their outfield is stacked. Crawford. You got Puig, one of the most polarizing young players in the game. Gonzalez at first base. Hanley Ramirez, a former MVP candidate. Their depth is just outstanding. And I just think, and this is the thing, if they need to make a move, the ownership's willing to spend the money to make that move happen. So their payroll is absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, we do know they will spend money.
They will spend money.
Beat out the Yankees. They broke the Yankees streak of 15 straight
crazy.
seasons of having the highest payroll by like 16 million or something. So your sleepers?
I'm going to have to go. I think the Rangers became a favorite to a sleeper with all the injuries they have. Okay, they've been decimated this spring training. 4 of their 5 starting pitchers out. Holland, Harrison, Lewis, yeah. And then they have 2 position players out in their catcher Soto and one of the top prospects in baseball, Profar. So if they can get through this injury period and get their roster back, I think they're a sleeper to win the AL West. And yeah, that's my sleeper.
Yeah, I mean, I think as of now, Rangers might be a sleeper, but they're pretty darn good ball club. Even with those guys missing, they come back, and I think they almost jump into that favorite category and out of the sleeper category. But I think I'm going to give Will the points here. Definitely like the Tigers, like you brought up, Kansas City Royals, good lineup there. Definitely think they could make some noise, and it'd be good to see them get back, finally. So
It's been since, 1985?
Yeah.
Last year.
Too long. All right, guys, time to take a quick break now. When we come back, panelists will break down this weekend's Final Four matchups. Don't go anywhere. It's College Crossfire. Welcome back to College Crossfire. Before we get into our round 2 topics, let's take a quick look at the scoreboard. Actually, no real need for the scoreboard here. We're all tied at 1, guys. Moving on to that March Madness now. As it usually does, that madness of March has creeped into the month of April, but we've narrowed down the tournament field to just 4 teams during a wild weekend of Elite 8 matchups. Number 1 overall seed Florida advanced and will take on the number 7 seeded UConn Huskies, who recently knocked off President Obama's championship pick, the Michigan State Spartans. On the other side of the bracket, we saw number 2 Wisconsin knock off the 1 seed Arizona Wildcats, and they will take on the number 8 seed Kentucky Wildcats, who knocked off the number 2 seed Michigan Wolverines on a last-second 3 from Aaron Harrison. So, guys, this tournament's brought us an unlikely group of Final Four teams. Which of these teams surprised you the most by making it all the way out of their respective regions? And when it's all said and done on Monday night, who's taking home the title? Will?
I think it's very close between Kentucky and UConn, but I think UConn is the more surprising team. I don't think they were top 140 in any major category. Scoring, rebounds, defense, assists. They just kind of came out of nowhere. They were 7 seed. They went through Iowa State. They beat UNC, I think, or played some really, really good teams in that division, or in that region. I think they're all about Shabazz Napier, Ryan Boatwright. Those guys are hitting threes. They can play against anybody, but I don't see them beating Florida.
Yeah.
Florida's too good of a defensive team.
Okay, so was Florida win at all? Who you got on the other side?
I'm going to go ahead and take Wisconsin. I think that's a tough call because Kentucky's playing so well right now. Those kids are playing hard, and Calipari always gets the best out of his freshmen. But I think Kaminsky's going to be going crazy again. They're going to be hitting threes. That Wisconsin team can score now.
That experience.
So, yeah. All about experience, yep.
Cooper?
Definitely UConn is my surprise pick. I mean, Florida, number 1 seed, not surprised. Wisconsin, number 2 seed. You can predict, not surprised by either of those. You could say Kentucky's kind of a surprise, but they always had the talent to do it. They're just inconsistent. So they're not really surprised. UConn just came out of nowhere. I don't think anybody really had UConn making it this far. And I mean, it's kind of similar to the 2011 UConn final team. They're both number 21 at the end of the polls, and they also both kind of rely on one player. They relied on Kimba in 11. Now they rely on Shabazz. But at the end of the day, I see Florida winning it all still. They're still my pick. I mean, you've got the senior leadership, the coaching of Billy Donovan, that defense. I see them coming out on top.
Definitely, yeah. And that team, they went to 3 straight Elite 8s before this year.
Exactly.
Lost
So
in all those. So,
experience.
they've been there before. They've had the same squad together.
And they have that
Kind of like when
heartbreak.
Yeah, I mean, very, very reminiscent of Joakim Noah days and Al Horford. So you didn't give me your championship pick though. Was it Florida?
I'll take Florida against Wisconsin. I think Florida has just enough offense, and their defense is smothering.
Okay. All right. So finish this off here.
My surprise team is going to be the Kentucky Wildcats. After that huge blowout loss to South Carolina, they were written off. They were left for dead. They wheeled in Coach Calipari into the locker room in a casket. He busted out. He said, "Guys, we're not dead." You know what? He was right. He was right.
Do you think that's actually true?
They were people were written them off. They were written off. When you watch them against Wichita State, you see that this team gelled at the right moment. These kids, they clicked. They were firing all cylinders. Each one of them had the look in their eyes that we can do this, and that's just not something people were expecting from them. And it's going to be an SEC championship, Kentucky versus Florida. I think Florida's going to take it, but SEC is walking home with the championship this year.
All right, and they were kind of talking some smack about them, and they only got 3 teams in there, and then by the time the Sweet 16 came around, I think they were undefeated with Tennessee advancing to the Sweet 16 out of nowhere. So everybody taking Florida, going to give everyone a point here. We're all tied up at 2. Now, guys, it was just a week ago that the defending champion Miami Heat sat 3 games back of the Indiana Pacers following a 1-point loss to the then Eastern Conference's top team. Now, a week later, the Heat have regained that top spot in the East after winning 4 straight and watching the Pacers proceed to lose 3 of their last 4. The Pacers have talked all season long about getting past the Heat and winning the Eastern Conference, and for most of the year, it's looked like they were on track to get that done. But now they've started to struggle at the wrong time with the playoffs looming right around the corner. How worried should the Pacers be about their recent struggles, and will they be able to turn around in time to maybe win the East like they want to?
The Pacers should be very worried about their struggles. This is the time where you really want to be peaking towards the playoffs. You do not want to be hitting your low. But, I mean, if they can just win these last few games, get that 1 seed, it's very important for them to get it. They took the Heat to Game 7 last year. And I think if they play Game 7 at home rather than on the road, they have a really good chance to come out with the win and make it to the finals. And, I mean, the Pacers really do match up well against the Heat. Paul George matches up well with LeBron. Roy Hibbert is a big presence in the middle, which the Heat lack a center. So I think they match up well. And even with their struggles, the team they beat in that stretch was the Heat. So, I mean, if they can just win these last few games, get the 1 seed, I think they'll be all right.
You think it comes down to them getting into the finals, comes down to getting that 1 seed in the regular season?
I feel like it's definitely, I mean, the East is so bad, they're definitely going to meet in the conference finals. It's going to go to 7 games, so that home court advantage is going to be huge.
Okay, Hunter?
If I'm a Pacer fan, I'm really worried. They are not looking good. 5 of the last 6 games, they haven't put up 80 points. Paul George, each month of the season, his shooting percentage is going down. His mind is elsewhere. He's got baby mama drama. He's not focused. And Roy Hibbert, last year he was an all-star. This year he's putting up Kwame Brown numbers. I mean, something's messed up there.
Oh, bad memories there.
If they run into a good defensive team like the Bulls in the second round, they might be toast. They might be out of there. If I'm a Pacer fan, I'm worried.
Okay.
When you have the league's #1 rated defense, you have nothing to worry about. When you know you can get stops, it's like the old 2003 Spurs. That team couldn't score, but boy, did they dominate because they could stop any – I mean, they knew they were going to get a stop. Miami's such a streaky offensive team. If LeBron's not on, if he's not in his flowing motion, if Wade's not getting, his 50% shots, they struggle. And like he mentioned, Miami has no Roy Hibbert. They can't. They're last in the league in rebounding. It's a miracle they won a title last year. They couldn't rebound the ball. I mean, Indiana can control the flow. They can get stops. They can control the boards. Nothing to worry about here. Indiana's 2-1 against Miami. I don't think it's going to take a top seed. I think either one of these teams can beat each other on their home court. It's going to be a 7-game series, but they went to 7 last year. Paul George is better this year. They got Evan Turner. They've added some depth on their bench. I think they're the best team in the East still.
All right. I mean, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. I think I'm going to give these guys the point here. I definitely think if I was a Pacers fan, I mean, even if I was a Pacers player, I'd be a little bit worried. They're talking about Roy Hibbert coming out and saying, we've got some selfish guys on the team. So I think they've got a little bit more, to worry about than just what's going on the court, too, which is never a good thing, especially when you're playing your biggest competition to get in the finals. It's a 2-time defending champions. So I'm going to give Cooper, Hunter the point here. Now, guys, the LA Angels locked up their star outfielder Mike Trout last Friday when both parties agreed to a 6-year, $144.5 million contract extension that will keep the outfielder in an Angels uniform through the 2020 season. There's been some chatter in the baseball world saying that Trout, arguably the best all-around player in the game right now, could have held out for another year or so and signed an even more lucrative deal. But looking at the contract, who do you think got the better end of it, Trout or the Angels? Hunter.
Oh, hands down the Angels, Jeff. Absolutely. Trout, 22 years old, has one of the top skill sets in the game. He could have held out for some Miguel Cabrera numbers. I'm talking 200+ million here. Angels got a steal with this.
Alrighty, well.
Angels. It's close though, because I think the Angels wanted to go 10 or 11 years. This guy's going to be good for the next 15, 20 years. But Trout was smart and played it very well and said, I'm going to be 27 years old. I'll be in the prime of my career physically, skill-wise, and then I can cash in with Cabrera money when I'm 28 years old. So I think the Angels got a good deal. And first of all, it's not debatable. He is the best player in baseball. Cabrera's the best hitter. Trout's the best player.
Best overall player?
Oh,
okay.
But hands down. I
So
mean, he's got 19.8
so I was right on
2
that?
years. Spot on that.
Cool.
So, steal for that. Yeah.
Definitely,
Steal for the Angels.
Steal for the
Okay.
Angels, yes.
definitely a steal for the Angels. I mean, look at what they're paying Albert Pujols, 10 years, $240 million. Paying Josh Hamilton, 5 years, $125 million. I mean, and those players are old and in decline. They're going to be like 40 at the end of their contracts. They're playing Trout in his prime. He's the best player in baseball. This is a steal for the Angels, but it's good for Trout as well that he's going to get out of this deal when he's still in his prime, and he'll be able to cash in for another 10-year, $240 million, or probably even higher at that point contract.
All right, well, I'll give everyone a point again. Everybody's going with the steal for the Angels here. But guys, coming up next, we will crown a winner for the night in our rapid fire round. Don't go anywhere. It's College Crossfire. Let's see. Thanks for sticking with us tonight here on College Crossfire. Let's get one last score update before we get into rapid fire. You got Will with 3, Cooper and Hunter with 4, but it's rapid fire, guys. Anything can happen. Everything's worth 2. We're going to start this round off with a classic caption this question. Take a peek at this picture that Mac Brown posted on his Twitter account from his fishing trip in South Texas. Take a look. We got a caption this. Actually kind of hard to see on there, but anybody got a caption?
That's a man with money without the responsibilities of running a program.
Okay.
Just enjoying his time.
I mean, he basically got fired, so he's gone fishing.
Gone fishing?
Hey, Fish, how fast can you swim a 40?
All right, that's it. Bye, guys.
All right, we're gonna give Hunter for the good caption and the impersonation there. You guys moving on to something a little more serious here in the NFL. That was a good one, Hunter.
All right.
Less than a week after being suddenly released by the Philadelphia Eagles, Deshaun Jackson has found a new home in our nation's capital. D-Jack signed a 3-year, $24 million contract with $16 million guaranteed with his old team's division rival, the Washington Redskins. We're going to focus on Jackson's on-field performance here. How much better did the Skins get with having D-Jax able to line up on the outside for him now next season?
I think they got quite a bit better. I mean, if Pierre Garçon has another, 1,000-yard plus year, if Griffin stays healthy and can get 68%, completion percentage, and Alfred Morris is running the ball, suddenly they have a really, really complete offense. All about that defense, though. You can load up on offense all you want, and we saw with Denver. But if you can't get stops, and Washington struggled all year with stops last year.
All right.
Gives them a dynamic presence down the field. Griffin has an arm. But again, it's all about defense here.
Yeah, so. And they got their possession guy in Garçon.
I'm not sure they really can afford him either. I don't think they can really pay the guy. So
we'll see, Cooper.
I think it made him better. It gave them more receiving core depth, and it is a downfield option for Griffin. He likes to throw the deep ball, and Griffin struggled last year, so hopefully this will get him going for the Skins offense.
Okay.
New coach Jay Gruden got his come up in arena football, where he's run up and down the field. Deshaun Jackson's going to play right into what Jay Gruden has experienced. It's a win-win for both of them.
All right. I'm going to give a corn dog to 2 points on this one.
All right.
Going into the last rapid fire, guys. So it's a standard American tradition for professional sports teams to take a celebratory visit to the White House months after they win a championship in their respective sport. It's also common to see these players wear a traditional business-style suit to these ceremonies. But Red Sox outfielder Jonny Gomes changed the game yesterday when he wore a custom-made American flag suit. Take a look at the suit here, or did you guys grab a peek at it right there if you haven't seen it already? All right, guys, so if you were part of a championship squad, say you were part of the Red Sox here, what would your special White House outfit be?
Well, if I hit the walk-off home run in the World Series, I mean, because that's what he's known for right about now. That's an entirely appropriate thing to wear. That's baseball. It's America. It's World Series. It's Boston.
What are you wearing?
I don't know. Maybe not something that extravagant, but I don't know. Probably just a regular coat and tie for me. I don't know, man. I'm all about the business on the field, and then.
All right,
Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect that. Cooper,
I don't know
anything?
if I'd go that far out there, but maybe like a USA flag tie, maybe a hat, something like that.
Okay.
Nice.
Like a little fedora or
Yeah, a
something?
little fedora.
All righty.
I want to know where he got that. Maybe a department store, Betsy Ross or something. If I'm going to the White
It's
House,
disrespectful,
celebrate-
man. That's a good-looking suit.
If I'm going to the White House, I'm wearing my RIP Eazy-E tall tee. That's what I'm wearing. That's what I'm going in.
That's what you're going in?
Yeah.
Okay.
He showed up there once, had dinner with George Bush Sr.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Anybody else got anyone? Any other ideas? here?
I'm happy now that I hit the World Series winning home run. I really don't care what I look like afterwards. I got my ring. I got the fame.
Corn dogs, all business.
Yeah.
All business
Yeah.
here. Hunter, I think you're going to grab the 2 points here. That is, I believe, going to give you the win tonight here on College Crossfire. First appearance, your first win. FaceTime, buddy. Go ahead. You got 30 seconds.
What's FaceTime?
FaceTime. Talk about anything you want.
What do I do?
Anything you want, man.
All
Go
right,
ahead.
check out Longhorn Late Night. It's a great TV show where we do funny stuff, almost as funny as this show. So check it out. Tuesday nights on TSCB at 11 o'clock. All right, thanks.
It's a little plug for your show there. So as we do on College Crossfire, we get our defending champion back the next week. Are you going to come back
Sure.
next week?
If you'll have me.
Hey, you don't seem excited, man.
Hey, if you have more Hennessy in the green room like you did this week,
Hey, how about this? We'll make a deal. You give me a segment on Longhorn Late Night next week. We'll let you come back on the show.
come to the writers' meeting in 2 minutes. We'll talk about it.
I'll be there in 2 minutes.
All right.
All right. Well, guys, that's all the time we have for you tonight. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. As always, you can catch us right here every Wednesday night at the same time. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at CollegeXFire. For the biggest news on the 40 acres, you can tune in to College Press Box Monday nights at 9:30 p.m. For everyone in Master Control, the studio, the panel, and myself, good night, and we'll see you all next week. Good job, dogs.